Hello, welcome to Farrell Swim Tech 2025 edition. The same brand, same label, same everything. I always loved it as a kid. I'm sorry, this is an aside before we get into it. I've always loved it as a kid when they changed the label of a product and they're like, same new look, same great product. It's like, why? Why did you do that? You didn't need to change the logo. Everything was just fine with your logo, but you felt the need to employ a graphic artist. Why? I don't know. I never got it. Anyway, welcome to Farrell Swim Tech. My name is John Farrell. This is the live stream streaming on Team Zoot's Facebook page, where I take my 15 years of racing experience and now 13 years of coaching experience and help you get faster in the water. So this is a live stream on Team Zoot's Facebook page. I am actually going to start negotiations with Form Racing to see if I can get this show on their page as well. So if you like what you see and you want to know more about what I do, if you want in-person lessons or virtual stroke technique lessons where you film yourself, send it over to me, farrellswimtech@gmail.com, any and all email inquiries. I am also available to do training camps. So if you're interested in flying me out, we can negotiate. I have a lot of Southwest points, but I can't burn them all on doing this. Well, like I said, we can negotiate. Farrell Swim Tech on Instagram. Once again, I always promise to post more content there, but I don't. YouTube, Farrell Swim Tech, which is basically a repository of all of these episodes, plus all of the virtual stroke technique lesson or sessions that I do are all put on Facebook. Are on YouTube with permission from the person, and Rumble, Farrell Swim Tech. I got some time, so I'm gonna do a mass upload to Farrell Swim Tech on Rumble. So yes, this is I'm sorry, I completely lost my train of thought here. It's early, and I'm getting really distracted by all the wind going on. So before we left for the break, we were talking about kicking. So we've done all the lower body stuff plus breathing. So now we're going to get into pulling. Now, why is pulling such a problematic area for a lot of triathletes? It is a problem area for a lot of triathletes for one huge reason. It's our arms. Running and cycling, we don't necessarily use our arms. We use our arms as a, for stability on the bike and for steering and for shifting and braking. And then on the run, we use it as an aid to the locomotion. Basically, our arms in running is kind of akin to the amount of propulsion we get out of our legs for kicking. Our arms give us less propulsion. I mean, let's face it. Some of you maybe get 1% speed out of your kick, which is okay. We're all learning. We're all growing. But what I'm trying to say is we're trying to use our arms in order to create propulsion, which is something that not a lot of cyclists and runners are used to. So because of this, we have a hard time visualizing exactly what we're doing. So the path of this episode today is we're going to talk a lot about pulling theory. In other words, kind of what is the mindset of pulling and why is a change in mindset often required in order to be able to fix our technique. And then the next part we're going to do is we're going to talk about the catch. The catch is about the first quarter of the pull, which is setting your hand and arm up to be able to effectuate the pull. Now, I've decided to chop this one up into 2 episodes. We're going to talk a lot about the theory, and then we're going to talk about the catch. And then next week, we're really going to dive into the mechanics of a proper pull. In other words, the final 3 quarters of the pull. Okay? So, as always, this is a live stream on Facebook. If you are watching on Facebook, you are more than welcome to You're more than welcome to live comment. I have been streaming since 2016. I'm pretty good at reading comments while speaking. So feel free to live comment. And if you're watching this as a video on demand, if you're crazy enough to not wake up at 5:15 in the morning on the West Coast, just feel free to leave any comments. I do check the comments and I do respond to the comments. And if you would rather not publicly comment, you got any questions whatsoever, feralswimtech@gmail.com. Email me legitimately anytime. Okay, so moving on, let's talk about pull theory. So what are we exactly trying to do here with pull? Is it just flailing our arms around, or do we what's the mindset here? So back in the first episode of this series, I talk a lot about the theory, about the mindset. You know, when I hop in the pool, having over 15 years of racing experience in a pool, what's my mindset? How do I go about swimming basically faster than everyone else? But the idea is we need to understand how we are swimming. So we are pushing off a wall. We're going to the other wall, okay? So in order to move us to that wall, we need to be able to take water and push it towards the wall that we pushed off from, okay? Because we need to grab the water, push it backwards. Because we move, the overarching principle is we move in the opposite direction, we're pushing the water. In other words, for sciencey people, our push, the water moves perpendicular to the surface of that with which we are pushing, okay? If I'm kind of in the water and I'm standing, so if I'm standing on the pool floor, I have my hands on top of the water. I'm in the shallow end, okay? If I push my hands down to the bottom of the pool as hard as I can, I'm going to go upwards, okay? Now, if I push super duper hard, I'm not really going to go anywhere, okay? If I push really, 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 really slow, I'm not going to go anywhere, okay? You need to push with a certain amount of force in order to be able to harness the physical state of water in order to be able to move upward, out of the water, okay? So there's also a component of feel, of precision, of the pressure of your arm on the water. Okay, one second. There's a massive wind storm going on right now. So it's been kind of thrown a bunch of stuff in the air. So my sinuses have been getting a little bit more bonkers lately. I do apologize for that. So I may have to hit the mute button every once in a while. But essentially, when we're swimming, we want to grab water that's in the opposite end of the pool, grab it, push it backwards, okay? So we need to set up our arms, and we need to be able to get the most amount of surface area on our arm in order to be able to do that. Now, the question is, what direction are we actually pushing here? Because a lot of people, when they put their arm in the water, so water surface is here, okay? So if I place my arm parallel to the water surface, a lot of people go, boom, okay? They push down this way, and they kind of swing their hand in a half moon, okay? So if I draw my hand here, it goes down, 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 over, 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 up, 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 okay? Why is this not good? All right, so this is kind of the overall theory. We'll dive into the whole mechanics of how we do it next time. But the theory is, if I'm pushing my hand down this way, the water is pushing this way, okay? It pushes perpendicular to the direction that I'm actually pushing, okay? So if I just go, you know, in other words, I like to call this muscling, where if I see a person really digging his shoulders, just like that, and you're kind of smacking the water, like you're playing whack-a-mole with the water. You just whack, you smack it, and then you bring the arm backwards. So we'll go over to the bench, and I'll show this a little bit more. And I totally hit my funny bone just now. Wow, that sucks. But if you just smack the hand down here, look at this. So my hand is here, then my hand is here, then my hand is here, then my hand is here. You kind of see this circle being drawn, this kind of arc with my fingers. So my hand is pushing here, here, here. Okay? So there is a lot of pressure that is being pushed down to the bottom of the pool. Okay? And then it isn't until about here, and when we arc our hand down to here, we're starting to get the backwards push to here. So we've put a lot of energy into this part, but that's done nothing. Okay? So this is all a part of the catch, this first quarter of the pull. So a lot of people, they keep this arm straight and they push down here. All right? Now, there's a second component that's wrong with this as well. When you push down here, you're not creating any backwards force. You're not pushing any water backwards. You're pushing water down to the bottom of the pool. And in addition to this, we're still moving forward, okay? So it's not just like we're getting here, and then we're gonna move forward. We're still moving forward as that hand's going down. The lower the hand gets, the more drag forces are pushing against us, okay? So what a lot of people mistakenly do is they look at videos of people that are very adept at swimming. And we're talking, and there's one guy in particular I'm kind of blaming for this phenomenon, where he has this guy has like the silkiest stroke that you've ever seen. And a lot of people look at that and they go, oh, wow, that is a fantastic way to swim. There's one problem with this. If you do it wrong, drag central, okay? Because the idea is when the guy, and I don't remember his name off the top of my head, and any of you that have done a lot of YouTube searching on, and this isn't effortless swimming, and this isn't my swim guy. There's like one other dude out there that's like big on the social medias and stuff, and he basically talks about this like super long glide stroke, which not bad for maybe the 4,000, but like if you're trying to better your 500 or mile time, you're gonna get obliterated. Okay, it's not the way to go for 500 or the mile. Even the 2,000. The 2,000's not that much more. If you're really going for a longevity stroke, that the glide. It works well for the 4,000, but not necessarily for the 500 or the half mile, the mile, and the 2K. It just doesn't work. But with what a lot of people do mistakenly is they put their hand down really low and they don't have it in line with their body. The idea is you want to get your arm in line with your body. Most people, they put it down too low, and the lower you put your hand in the water before you start pulling, you wind up accumulating drag forces on the arm. It takes a heck of a lot of discipline and body awareness in the water to be able to do this stroke. There's a reason why for beginners, I often say, please continuously pull. Don't do the whole glide thing, especially if you're in the 2 minutes. If you're in the 2 minute range, it's not going to work. It's not going to work for you. You're going to actually slow yourself down almost to a stop every single time. I've seen it. Okay. It doesn't work. So if you're kind of looking at, okay, how do I get my stroke better? Hey, this guy has a really low energy version of swimming. You're going to grind yourself to a stop every single time, and it's because of the drag forces accumulating on your arm and or legs. Just remember, a huge component of keeping your legs afloat is actually your overall speed. So if you don't have a lot of speed, and your speed is directly correlated to your time, especially if you're in a pool. If you're in open water, okay, you got a really bad current, you could be brought to a standstill even though you may be a decent swimmer. I've had ex-collegiate swimmer friends of mine that have done Ironman distance triathlons in horrendous currents, and they're like, it's no joke. It is ridiculous. So anyway, so going back to our idea here, where we want to be able to grab water and push it back in a straight line. So did you see that difference here? Because before, we're pushing the water down and we're bringing our arm down with it. Now, what we want to do is we want to figure out how to grab that water here and push it so that this hand, these fingers, don't go down into an arc. We actually want to be drawing somewhat of a straight line as we're pushing backwards, okay? So, how do we get our arm in this position? Now, some of you may be wondering, okay, why are you just talking about the catch one episode and then you're not going to be talking about this in the next episode? Well, the reason why is because we need to couple the catch with the pulling theory, and it takes too much time to throw everything together in one episode. But also, this gives you the opportunity during this next week. You'll be able, I'm going to give you some dry land exercises so that you'll be able to really start tackling this concept. And what we need to do is we need to build the muscle memory. The main reason why we're learning stroke technique is so hard in the water is breathing, which we covered the last episode, actually. Because when you're in water, you're desperately trying to stay afloat. You're trying to get breaths. Well, so many things can go wrong. Essentially, what we want to do is we want to develop dry land methods to where we are in controlled environments. So then what you do is you do the dry land, you get to the pool, you get in the pool, you replicate the dry land, and then you swim a little bit. Then you do the dry land again. It's really helpful to be in the shallow end of the pool when you do this, because then you can be in the water, you can be thinking about this, and you can actually try a couple strokes while you're standing. You know, just kind of like how I'm doing here while I'm sitting in my chair. But it's important to do the dry land so we can start becoming mentally aware of what we're actually trying to do using the correct directions. Now, one thing before we get into really discussing the mechanics of the catch is the directions. What direction are we pulling? Now, this is a quick recap of what we talked about in the first episode, which is we're not going forward in the water, we're actually going forward in the water, okay? Because when we think about it, what direction is up? Direction up, this direction is actually the other side of the pool while we're swimming. So we want to be able to reach up, push down, because we're not really pulling. We're not pulling, so to speak. It's actually more of a push mechanic, where we're going to push the water down, push the water down, push the water down. So we're going to reach up, grab water, push it down. I'm going to go back to the bench in a little bit, and I'll be able to actually fully reach up and show you what's going on. So we need to start developing this mentality of reaching up, pushing down. So something that you can do to start is just reach up, reach up, reach up, okay? Because one of the problems that I see is that most people, they put their hand in right at their head, and then they push down here, okay? So we want to develop a mentality of reaching out here, and the reaching. So kind of bring your hand a little bit behind your head and reach up. Reach up, okay? This is your first exercise that you can do. You can just be in your chair, nice and easy, kind of get your hand somewhere about here, and then reach up with keeping your hand behind your head. Behind your head. We'll get into this a whole lot more when we talk about recovery. But for now, kind of your exercises, you know, see my arm is on the back side of my chair. My hand is somewhere near my ear. So we're going to go recovery, 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 and finish with your fingers pointing straight to the ceiling. Okay, so this is more the visualization part and kind of getting used to this idea. All right, so the reason why we want to do this is because we want to start with our hand, about an inch under the water. So if this is the water, we're going to reach and get our hand in somewhere about here, and then we're going to reach so our hand is just a couple inches under the water surface. Now, for a long time, I've taught that I want to keep the hand at the water surface. After reviewing it a lot, if you put your hand just an inch or two below the water surface, it's going to be totally fine. And on top of that, it's a lot easier for those that have shoulder issues. So you're not like reaching behind you. Oh, one second. So when we reach here, okay, what we want to do is we want to get our hand and our arm. We want to get our hand and the arm set up to be able to pull. Okay, so one of the big theories I talk about is pull-up theory. All right. We don't do pull-ups all the way out here. We don't typically do pull-ups right here, okay? And we don't do pull-ups super close to our bodies. We don't do pull-ups with straight arms, okay? So, how do we do pull-ups? We do pull-ups a little bit, our hands are about shoulder width apart, and then we bring our chin up and over the bar, okay? And then what this does is this brings our arms a little bit away from our body, and then we come up, and then we come down. Okay? So, why do I talk about pull-ups? I was terrible at pull-ups. I was never good at pull-ups. However, I talk about pull-ups because this is the idea. This is the theory. We want our hands about shoulder width apart, and we want our hand to be about 90 degrees. Okay? We'll talk a lot more about this next week. But basically, the reason why I talk about that is because we want to get our arm in that position after the catch. So the catch is actually two different motions. There's a hand motion and then an arm motion. All right? So when I reach and extend, I'm going to grab the water with my hand. Okay? So this is grab the brick. Okay? We're going to grab a brick here. So there is a brick right here. We're going to grab it. All right? And now what we're going to do is we're going to push it down. We're going to push it down. Okay? So as we're going to start with our arm extended slightly below the water, we're going to grab, and then we're going to push until we get about here. You'll see this on the table. You'll see this on the bench. It'll make a lot more sense on the bench. But basically, we're going from here to here. Okay? So yeah, the problem is it's a little hard for me to talk while I'm on the bench because my lungs are all compressed and crap. It kind of sucks. So we want to scoop, okay? And it is seriously this here. So we reach here, grab it like this. All right, we're grabbing a brick with our hand, and then we're gonna bring it to here. All right. So that's not a good angle. I apologize. Here, let's tilt my camera down just a little bit. We'll get a better angle here because we're here. So reach, grab, push. Okay, you see as I push, my hand is actually coming down, but the bulk of the direction is pushing the water in the right direction rather than pushing it down. Okay? This is the huge difference between the two movements, is grabbing here and pushing down. Okay? So, before we move on, something to understand is that mobility and the ability to reach and rotate and extend, all these things are super duper important. That's why, and I understand this is my shameless plug for the stream, This is why I work with Dynamic Triathlete. Now, Dynamic Triathlete is a fantastic website. Hold up, there you go, under that one, because I have my stuff set up here on my Discord. Which, by the way, if you do want to join my Discord, mostly it's about my gaming stuff, but we talk about triathlon stuff every once in a while. So Dynamic Triathlete is a great way to get in shape flexibility-wise. They have fantastic, anywhere between 15 to 20-minute routines that you can do on a daily basis. They have good warm-ups. They have some basic training plans. If you're just getting into a certain distance and you're like, where do I even start? They have a pretty good training plan set up just to get you, help get you prepared and confident for your first distance race of that distance, so to speak. I love the easy to follow routines. You don't have to be a yoga master to be able to do these. I have done yoga a lot during my lifetime. These are very beginner level stuffs, but even though it's beginner level, it is extremely effective. And the team that they have that's put this stuff together, it's really, really good. And they're adding new stuff all the time. It's $80 a year and then $8 a month. If you want to do a monthly option, it's $8 a month, and then it's about $80 a year. That is with offer code SWIM, SWIM. Use offer code SWIM in the checkout. And you'll get 10% off your order. So like I said, that translates to about $8 a month and or $80 a year, which is a great price for a really good stretching routine. They also have hip-focused routines, knee and lower leg-focused routines, back-focused routines. So flexibility is one of my key areas of swimming. So Dynamic Triathlete will help you get there. Also, if you are interested in other things that I do, if you want to check out my gaming live streams, I am actually live. I'm on a 6-week crash course program on my Whoosh on the trainer. So if you want to check out my morning streams, I stream out about this time most every morning. I'm on the bike trying to get fit. I'm also on at nights too, playing random games. Got a couple buddies that are on with me. We yuck it up. We have some good times. So if you want to check out more of that information, link tree in the comments below. Okay, so now moving on with the episode. So grabbing the hand and putting ourselves in the right position. What does this do for us? Number one, this reduces the amount of drag forces that we are experiencing if we just push our hands down to the bottom of the pool. The other thing is we're actually increasing propulsion because instead of wasting the propulsion, we're increasing the propulsion. And remember, our basic speed in swimming is dependent on two major factors. Number one, drag versus propulsion. How much drag do we have on our system versus the amount of propulsion that we have? Number two, the more propulsion that we have, in general, the less drag that we will have. So if we take this and bring it to this, that is a huge net speed gain because, number one, we're increasing the amount of time we're pushing on the water. Now remember, for all you science geeks, if you've done physics, you understand that velocity and speed is actually directly correlated to the amount of time you're applying acceleration to water, okay? There is a direct mathematical correlation to the amount of time we spend pushing water backwards to how much faster we're going to go because we're consistently adding acceleration into the equation, okay? I've actually done an episode diagramming all of this out. It was actually really, really nerdy, but it was kind of fun. Yes, I do have a master's in engineering for a reason. I'm kind of a nerd. I also was told there would be no math in this episode, so there's going to be no more actual math in this episode. So, in other words, to make it simple, the more time we spend pushing the water in the correct direction, the more opportunity we have to actually be moving ourselves in a faster rate. Okay? So, by going from this to this, we're adding a lot of speed into the equation, and we're also reducing the amount of drag forces that can accumulate on our arm. Okay? All right. We're going to move over to the bench right now, and I got to switch my audio. Wait a minute. Hold on. Oh, okay. No, we're good. Okay, all right. You should be able to hear me now. Unfortunately, the mic that I'm using, this one's directly. This is that camera that's literally on my garage door. So you're probably going to hear some creaks and stuff. I do profusely apologize. I have no way of actually monitoring that and figuring out what's going on. I don't have this chair over here. One really nice thing I did over the break was actually like clean out my whole area here in the garage, so I actually have room. It's fantastic. Okay, so where you're at right now is if you're in the water staring at me while I'm swimming. Okay, so what we've been talking about here is not pushing down here. So if I get my arm here in the water and I start pushing down here, you see that I'm going down and just slapping the floor. I'm not grabbing myself and pushing myself forward in the water. So what we're doing is we're avoiding to do this and grabbing the water here. So right down here is actually the base of my bench. So I want to be able to grab that water. Grab the water and get my arm in a position to where I can start pushing straight back. Okay? So here is the sky. This is our up. And we're going to grab the water and push it back. This is butterfly pull, by the way. For those of you that have hated butterfly, that's your butterfly pull. But I understand there's a lot more to it than just learning how to pull properly. But we want to grab the water out here, and we want to push it down to our feet, okay? Here's my feet, my lovely moccasins. So we're going to reach, grab, push. Reach, grab, push. Reach, grab, push, okay? So how do you work on this, okay? So you got a couple different options. If you have access to a bench like this, which, by the way, if you check the link tree, there is a link to an Amazon store. And the Amazon store has my recommendations of things if you really want to work on your dry land. Also, my recommendations for pool equipment, paddles, snorkel, whatnot. They're all in that Amazon store. So this weight bench is actually one of the options in the Amazon store. The reason why I love this weight bench is because it's got a nice skinny support arm right here. So you're actually able to kind of graze that arm, and that puts this finger just about right where you want it, okay? So you're going to grab the water and get it to about here. So what you want to do is you want to be on your bench, and you want to reach and extend your arm kind of just about at, you want to look straight down, get your arm just about at ear level, and then bring it down just about an inch or two. So then you want to first start by grabbing the water, okay? So all this is just reaching up, putting your hand perpendicular to the water, and you're going to grab your brig. I'm sorry, I got something in my eye. Yuck. Ow. Ow, ow, ow. Okay, no, we're good. So we're going to grab that brig. Next thing we want to do is we want to push down, engage our bicep and our tricep at the same time. What this is going to do is this is going to help, this is going to get our arm in a position where when the hand is right below you, so right now you can hear I'm smacking the base of my bench. When you're about here, your arm is going to be locked in a 90-degree rotation. So you're going to reach here, grab the water, and push and engage the bicep and the tricep and get it to right about below your chin. So my face is about an inch. My chin is about an inch away from the seat of the bench. So I'm reaching, grabbing my brick, engage the biceps and the triceps, and you're right here. Okay? So once you're here, all this is now is just push on through. We'll talk more about that next week. But what we're really trying to hyper-focus on here is this first quarter of the pull. Reach, grab, come about to here. Grab, come to here. Grab, come to here. Okay? The other benefit we get with engaging the biceps and the triceps is we add stiffness to the equation. A lot of people, we'll talk more about this next week, a lot of the problems that I see with pulling is that when people grab their elbow and they think that they're moving their arm, but they don't have the stiffness to be able to actually push the water. So then the water pressure actually brings the arm up, and they wind up legitimately pushing with their elbow. We'll switch to the side here in a second. But basically, we want to grab and push back here. Actually, we'll change right now, and I have to shift that back in order to get it in frame. Let's go side camera. Okay, there we go. Okay. So from the side view, here's what we're doing. So we're reaching here, grabbing. You see that my fingers are pointed down to the floor. So this is the perpendicular to the water surface that I'm talking about. So we first want to grab here, and then as we push down, we're going to engage the bicep and the tricep. So you see, as I'm engaging the water, the hand is actually going deeper. Here, let me use my left hand. And I got to keep my chest off because it's hard to speak when my chest is compressed. So you grab here, and then as you're pushing down to your feet, you see that my hand is actually coming lower. But all I'm doing is engaging the bicep and the tricep. I'm trying to figure out how to put my head so you're actually going to see this thing. It's like totally just at the wrong angle. So we're grabbed here, and then as we push, the hand comes down. But we're pushing in a direction that's moving us forward. We're not pushing the hand down. So you see, so this is the problem. So we push the hand down, and then we grab the water and push back. In this motion, you're doing both things at the same time. But the key is the bicep and the tricep. As you engage here, you're going to lock your arm in a nice square configuration, as opposed to pushing down. You see how far my hand is out here, and it's all outstretched and straight? Down, as opposed to lowering the hand while pushing the water in the correct direction. So we're doing two things at once here. We're grabbing and we're pushing ourselves forward the entirety of the hand lowering into the water. So we don't want to push down first, then grab the water. We want to reach, grab, and then push as our hand is sliding down deeper into the water over the course of the pull. Now, what do we do in order to work on this? We actually want to do the doggy paddle drill. Give me a sec. I'll pull up that video. Do I have that video still? I don't know if I have that video. I don't know if I have that. Oh, no, I do. I have that. I have the, let me see, how do I want to do this? Let Let's go back. Standard camera. Turn that back on. Let's see here. Should have already pulled this one up, but I do apologize. Let's see here. Let's see here. There you go. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen here. Let's see here. Yeah, hold on. Feral Swim Tech analysis. There you go. So here's my Feral Swim Tech. So here's the doggy paddle drill. Yeah, this one's just muted. So what we're doing here is we are yeah, unfortunately I lost the audio. I need to refilm this one. So you see where I'm catching the water and I'm pushing it kind of underneath me. I'm stopping, you know, right about just below the stomach. So you see that I'm reach, grab, push, and then you shoot the hand out underneath the water back to the front. Oh, let me pull that back up just a little bit. There we go. So here we'll watch it. We'll watch it again. So reach, grab, push, reach, grab. Is that, yeah. So you see right there, my hand is coming underneath the water, and right there it's getting somewhere underneath my body. So you see that hand is reaching forward. So you see right there, as I'm grabbing the water, I'm now pushing it backwards. Now you start to see the bend in the elbow. There's your 90-degree bend just underneath you, and then you push, and then you are zooming it back forward. So this is the drill that you want to do to improve your catch. You can do this sitting down. You can sit on the stairs, just shoot forward, push it backwards. So you don't have to worry about flotation. What we want to worry about more right now is just getting the correct motion. It's reaching forward, grabbing the water, and then pushing it back underneath the water. So this is, and also the other thing that you see is you notice I'm making no bubbles whatsoever. That's because my arms are completely underneath the water for this drill. And you don't have to have like a really good, free, flutter kick in order to do this. If you want to throw a pull buoy on for this, that'd be fantastic. There's no issues with that whatsoever. But just make sure that you're focusing on grabbing that water with your hand and grabbing it like this, pushing that water underneath your body. You just want to push it underneath your body, nice and easy, okay? So this is the doggy paddle drill. This is what you use in order to improve your catch. I guarantee you start doing this for a week straight, you're going to see a noticeable improvement. And also do the dry land. Reach up, grab a brick, push it down. Oh, shoot. You know, I didn't show you that. I didn't show you guys that. Hold on. Okay, let's go back to full camera here. We'll take off my handsome mug on the Instagrams. Okay, so we're gonna shift that up. We're going to shift that up just a little bit. Re-engage 922. Okay, there we go. So this is showing what the dry land is. So number one dry land is actually doing it on the bench. But as you reach up here, we're going to grab that brick, push it down. So what you want to focus on is number one, don't push the hand over here. Grab it, elbow goes out, hand will stay in a line. You see that as I'm pushing down, my hand is drawing a line. My elbow extends upwards, and also we don't want to reach here. We want to reach here, all right? having this line down the body is insanely important. We want to reach up, grab the brick, push it down, okay? We'll talk about the shoulder rotation in a completely different episode in this series. The shoulder rotation comes later. Being able to pull here is vastly more important than bringing in the shoulder rotation. I'm sorry, I got this weird hiccup attack right now. So as we reach up, so when you're in your house, get in front of a mirror, reach up to the ceiling, okay? Not here, not here, not here, not here. Just nice and gentle, reach to the ceiling. And if you can't do this, dynamictriathlete.com over in the comments. So reach, and then you're going to grab your brick. Okay, when you grab your brick, you want your hand slightly towards the inside. Okay, and then when your hand slightly towards the inside, you're going to start to push down. As you push down, that elbow is going to come out to the side, and then you're going to push all the way to the ground. So we'll get more into that next week, but this is the basic drill that you want to do. You want to reach up, grab your brick, push it down. Reach up, grab the brick, push it down. Okay? So this is the basic form of the drill. This is actually segmented. Reach, grab, push. Reach, grab, push. Elbow out, hand in, push. Okay? Next level is push. Reach, grab, push. Reach, grab, push. Okay? Grab, push. Grab, push. All right? So what we're doing is we're combining, we're doing immediately one after the other, the grab and then the push. All right? So, because eventually we're going to go reach, push, 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 push. Okay? But we need to be able to segment out the different pieces of the pull so that we can do this. All right? So I want you to start on this right now. Start on the dry land. Reach, grab, push. Reach, grab, push. And get that line coming down straight. Because eventually we're going to finish here, and then we're going to bring that hand up. So in other words, as we push here, we're going to finish here. Elbow comes back. We're going to reach up. Okay? That's kind of what we were doing earlier. We're starting here. Reach up. Reach up. Reach up. Okay, so these are a couple different items. We're not diving into the whole mechanics of those. These are just pieces of dry land that you can start working on right now that are really going to benefit you in the future. Okay, so that actually is basically going to wrap things up here. All right, so that's gonna wrap things up. All right. So yeah, so polling is very intimidating. I understand that wholeheartedly because you're trying to push yourself through a medium that is very foreign to us. We don't live in water. I like to believe that I live in water, but we're on land and we're used to concrete. We're used to dirt. We're used to solids. We're not used to liquids. Getting to know and understand liquid is a very hard process. And in 2025, this is why I am here to help. Just remember, feralswimtech@gmail.com. Any questions whatsoever, please do not hesitate to email me. Also, if you would like to donate to the stream, send me an email, feralswimtech@gmail.com. Or check out the link tree. There's a Venmo link. Actually, no, there isn't a Venmo link on the link tree. Anyway, just email me if you'd like to donate. In 2025, I'd like to try and acquire products to test and kind of share my findings and results with you on air. So donations would greatly help towards the acquisition and acquirement of these products. One of the things that I really have my eyes on is a swimming power meter. That's going to run about $600. So yeah, I can't float that on my own, But if you'd be willing to donate, I am more than willing to grab a swimming power meter and actually try it out and see how it all works. And then if you want to use it, you're more than welcome to do a private lesson with me. But anyway, stuff like goggles, suits, stuff like that. I'm more than willing to try stuff out. I can't afford it just on my own. So if you're willing to donate, I'd be more than willing to pick the products up. If you're willing to buy something for me to review, feralswimtech@gmail.com. I'll get you an address. You'd be able to send it to my house that way. I think there's ways through Amazon that you can just gift it to a person and then it like automatically sends it to their house. I don't know how that works. But anyway, if you want me to do product testing, feralswimtech@gmail.com. We'll figure something out. Yeah, so check me out on Instagram. I just showed you that drill on Instagram. I posted all my drills to Instagram. So they're just very easy to digest and figure all that out. If you want to check out the full episodes of the past, Feral Swim Tech on YouTube and or Feral Swim Tech on Rumble. I'm going to do a major update to Rumble today. So if you're on that platform, congratulations, you love free speech. And I'm going to get a lot more of this content on Rumble today. So, yep, that's going to be it for me for Team Zoot. Thank you all so much for tuning in, everyone that does. Make sure and hit the like button on this video on Facebook. This helps the guys at Team Zoot headquarters down the 15 from me. The 15. I'm sorry. I live in Southern California, and apparently it creeps everyone out that we refer to our freeways as the 10, the 5, the 15. I'm just like, I don't know. It just makes it easier. Because, I mean, when you got to go to the 210, to the 605, to the 405, to the 22, to the 101, it just makes life a lot easier instead of I-10, I-15, blah, blah, blah. It's like just the 10, the 15, the 20, whatever. SoCal is the best Cal. Fight me. I'm sorry, Team Zoot NorCal. I know, I don't want to start any civil wars within Zoot. The war rages on in the... I'm sorry, I'm getting too silly. I need to get out of here. I need to get my kiddos ready for the day. So anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in. Keep trying, my friends. Let me know if there's any way that I can do to help in the comments below. Yeah, so just once again, feralswimtech@gmail.com. You want to know anything about this stream, want additional help, check me out there. So we'll be back next week. We're going to finish our course on pulling. We're going to talk a lot about pulling mistakes. We're also going to talk a lot about the finishing the mechanics of the pull. So until then, keep training, do the dry land, and until later, my friends, good night, Isaiah Norris, wherever you are. I'm out of here. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.